North American tour that brings them to Tramps right here in New York City on Sunday night. So if you're in the area, check them out. Here with the song from their album, Right on Time, is Hepcat.
Go on and treat me like a jerk. Well, then he come to play. Girl, if I'm so bad, why don't you go his way? Oh, but there's nothing like your love. Can't wait to hear you say. There ain't no one can move me in this whole world like you. Baby, if I thought you bad, why don't you go his way? It's alright if tonight you see the lamb. It's alright, you're already in my band. It's alright, go ahead and come home late now. It's alright, girl, it's alright. I can't take it anymore. Girl, the way you mess around. Oh, baby, I can't stay with the way you put me down. Oh, but there's nothing like your love. Can't wait to hear you say. There ain't no one can move me in this whole world like you. Baby, if I caught you bad, why don't you go his way? Baby, if I caught you bad, why don't you go his way? Yeah. It's alright if tonight you see the lamb. It's alright, you're already in my band. It's alright, go ahead and come home late now. It's alright, girl, it's alright. Can't wait to hear you say, from 1,000 miles away. Don't want your love to roam. Why don't you come back home? Because there's nothing like your love. Can't wait to hear you say. There ain't no one can move me in this whole world like you. Baby, if I caught you bad, why don't you go his way? Baby, if I caught you bad, why don't you go his way? Baby, if I caught you bad, why don't you go his way? Yeah. Baby, if I caught you bad, why don't you go his way?
What's poppin'? How's it going? Check out these cool shades I got for free. They're T-Mobile shades. I guess they also have a little flip down so I can be completely blind unless I want to stare directly into the sun. What's going on? So this stream was going to be talking a little bit about skulls and people's like newfound like obsession with them, especially on the left. They started like watching people who are even like right of Mao to try to find like skulls hidden somewhere. So I put my Misfits thing up there, and I was actually going to go to the store and get a liquor bottle that was shaped like a sugar skull, or was it a Cavavara or something like that, like a Mexican Day of the Dead, De la de Muertos skull. And so I went to Specs here in town. They didn't have it. I went to the other Specs, and they didn't have it either. I was also going to get a Crystal Head vodka, the Dan Aykroyd thing. And then I was like, I couldn't find it. So I was like, okay, I know that there is a liquor store in San Antonio that I used to go to. And the lady who typically works there, the full-time cashier lady, she knew a lot about tequila and mezcal. And she was like, yeah, I remember seeing it a while ago, and we don't have it anymore. I wonder what's going on. So she called another store, and they told them that Dan Aykroyd had sued the distillery. And so I couldn't get it. We'll get into that in just a second. But first, the reason why I played that clip was because a band that I used to go and see when I was a kid, a band called Hepcat, because I was really into ska and a little bit into punk, and then went more into punk after the ska revival died. One of their lead singers passed away, I guess, like last week. And so I thought I'd just more or less. Here's his GoFundMe. I put a link in the description if you want to give the wife some cash to kind of deal with what's going on. So yeah. So anyways, this was the bottle that I wanted to buy. And then I found out that Dan Aykroyd, the asshole lunatic, sued them and won. And now they have to put their tequila in some other bottle. I wonder if I can find it. Tequila. And now they're in bottles that, I mean, they look cool, but it's not a skull. Yes. Oh, God. It's one of these things. Just whatever. Yes. Yes. Oh, jeez. So, yeah, that's what they used to look like. Or maybe they still sell it that way in other countries. Oh, so if I go to another country, I can buy it that way. But if I buy it, yeah, I can't show you. Well, come on, show me what the bottle looks like. Yeah, so that's what it looks like now. I mean, they do look cool, but they're not a skull. But I guess H Bomber Guy pointed out that there was some YouTuber, which I'm not going to mention the name of anymore. I'm done talking about it. But he used to have like a skull, and he would, anytime he would like change filming locations, he would move it around with him. So it was always in the background. It almost became like a meme. And so he started asking, like, why do you guys all have skulls? Why do you have skulls? And so now the big thing is to try to point out anybody who has a skull in their background as like some sort of like dog whistle of Nazism. So I went to go buy this thing, and I found out you couldn't buy it. So after I found out that Dan Aykroyd had sued to get that bottle off the market, I was like, well, I'm not going to buy Crystal Head either. So I went on to Amazon and I bought a decanter for like $20. And it's not going to be here until tomorrow. So, but I did get a cool Glencairn glass. And I also found a bottle that I thought had no distribution in Texas. It told me it had no distribution in Texas, but they had Free Ranch there. And I was like, oh my God, I've been looking all over for this. I was hoping it would come to Texas. And apparently either it did or they just had some special thing, whatever. I'm doing well, Crow. Thank you for asking. So, yeah, so I couldn't get it. And so now I'm going to have to wait for a fake Crystal Head decanter to come because I don't want to give that guy any money. So yeah, that's unfortunate. So what we're going to do is, because Dan Aykroyd is an asshole, we're going to make fun of him for a little bit. And maybe full screen this. There we go. Maybe full screen this so we can watch together. We're going to watch Dan Aykroyd. So I remember JonTron did a video about this video, and it's been so long. The only thing that I remember from it was that it took him like 4 minutes to actually talk about for a commercial about vodka, to actually mention the vodka. So we're going to watch this, and then we're going to watch appearance on Rogan where he's going on to even more stuff. And if you actually go back and watch some of the interviews he did for the Ghostbusters movie, you can see all the actors who are either with him in those things, if they're there, kind of go like, oh shit, okay, Dan Aykroyd's doing this weird shit again. He's really serious about how much he believes in ghosts and UFOs and stuff like that. So we're gonna kind of, I don't know if should we watch this one? Yeah, might as well.
I'm Dan Aykroyd. Since childhood, I have been fascinated with the invisible world. A world which can help us get through life if we know how to draw upon its power. A world serving positive projections, wherein you use your own personal, mental, and spiritual abilities to believe and subsequently make true the things that you want to happen for yourself. Also healing, miracles, the presences of spirits and beings once living, now gone into another life, but who continue to intrude into our waking consciousness by, for instance, haunting people or places. The implicit potential indestructibility of the soul must concern us. All of the...
What does this have to anything to do with vodka? I don't know. It feels like he only did this just to have like a vehicle to sit here and talk about his crazy like UFO stuff.
foregoing are actual elements in our existence. Over half of the world believes in such phenomena. There are plenty of photographic and audio materials, both conventional and digital, and also some trace physical evidence which support the premise that ghosts, UFOs and their occupants, plus other non-worldly presences exist. They indicate...
No, there's not. There is absolutely no evidence whatsoever to support any of these things. And all the evidence, quote unquote evidence, that it keeps surfacing are just like staged or hoax or misinterpreted, like other phenomenons and, you know, film recording and stuff like that, or digital recording.
Form of reality as valid.
And I remember there was a big thing, I want to say like 2010, that sort of era, where they would get like these really terrible quality videos of people, and because of the compression artifacts were so bad, they'd be like, oh look, she's shape-shifting. It's like, no, it's just terrible video.
As our normal reality. But there is no jar of ectoplasm, and no one will show us the bodies from Roswell. We've had nothing.
So Roswell, I don't know if you guys know what the deal with Roswell was. We kind of knew about it for a while. Then they declassified it, I want to say like 7 years ago or so. It was just weather balloons, and all the photos that were like kind of leaked about it a while ago, you can tell it was like foil, like Mylar type things. And it was like, okay, you're not going to build a spacecraft with this stuff.
Until now. This is an accurate glass rendering of a human skull, designed by my friend, renowned American portraitist and landscape painter John Alexander, whose most recent exhibitions include showings at the American Wing of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C.
I remember my first car was a 91 Taurus, and the front motor mounts were broken. So every time the car shifted, it was an automatic. Every time the car shifted, you'd hear the engine go, funk. So it worked fine.
And at the Houston Museum of Fine Art in Houston, Texas. It has been constructed to our demanding specifications after more than 2 years in development by one of the leading glass manufacturers in Europe, Bruni Glass. According to Bruni, no one has ever attempted to make a bottle of such quality and complexity as I hold in my hand. The obvious question is, why did we do this?
So you can tell that the whole point of this vodka is not about the vodka that's in the bottle. It's about the bottle and the story of the bottle, which I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people like kind of think like, oh, I should really care what's inside the bottle. It's like, no, story matters a whole lot more. And to give you an example, like this is Frey Ranch, right? If I just told you, okay, it's a bourbon from Nevada, it'd be like, okay, so what? And it's got a cool bottle. Don't get me wrong. It's really heavy, and it's got a cork that's like solid metal. It's like if I throw this at a window, it would break it for sure. Like, who cares, right? The whole story about this is that this is a farm in Nevada. They grow corn and other types of grains and stuff, and that's primarily where they were getting their money. And the guy who got inherited it from his father, I think it's like one of the oldest farms in Nevada. They decided, hey, let's start making whiskey with the grains that we grow. So they grow the grains, they make the beer from the grains that they grew, they distill it at the farm, they age it on the facility, they have their own rick house and everything, and then they bottle it there too. Like, I think the only thing that they don't make is the glass. Like, that's it. Everything else they make. And that is a fucking cool story. And that's what makes this has made this so popular. Not only that, but the juices inside it is also pretty amazing. The story matters. But this is just like, there's weird stuff that people believe. I believe it too. So we made a bottle out of it. Who cares?
John and I have always been avid.
And everybody who I know has bought this vodka has said, it's universally, I bought it for the bottle. The vodka that's in it is like gross. It's not good. And we'll get into why in just a bit. When he actually gets around to talking about the actual vodka, they just want it for the bottle so they can use it as a decanter, which is what I wanted to do. But now I'm boycotting him now because he's an asshole.
Researchers on the subject of the legendary 13 crystal heads, which have been unearthed at numerous locations and at various times on our planet. The story goes that 13 crystal heads have been found in places varying from the Yucatan Peninsula in Central America to the American Southwest in New Mexico and also in Tibet.
Which all of those are pretty much hoaxes. I think like the very first one that was found, like Hewlett-Packard, he was talked about how Hewlett-Packard, I think he mentions it in this video, that Hewlett-Packard did some like scientific tests on it and found like, oh, there's no way they could have done it with primitive tools. It's like, okay. But then I think they ended up talking to the guy, and he can either the guy who allegedly found it or the son or whatever. They said, oh no, he bought it from a store. I think he bought it from Tiffany's Jewelers. Because they had made one, and he bought it for like 400 pounds in like the 1920s, like late 1920s, and just was passing it around as like, oh yeah, I found this in some.
There are now 7 heads known to be in mankind's
he either coped to it or the family coped to it.
Custody. Mitchell Hedges in Ontario, Canada.
It's a cool story.
Smithsonian Institutions Exhibits 1 and 2, the British Museum piece, Max in Texas, the Cross in Mexico City, and one currently owned by a woman in the Southwest who claims that she had to finally put it in a closet after he or she began speaking to her. Scientists estimate that it took between 300 and 500 years to carve one of these heads from a single piece of quartz. However, in tests conducted on the Mitchell Hedges head by Hewlett-Packard Labs in the 1960s, they could find no discernible tool marks on the head to show how it was carved. Equally fascinating is that, according to both physicists and jewelers, these heads should not exist, but should have shattered in the course of making them. In the film Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the well-known Mitchell Hedges piece is referenced, as well as the
It's a terrible movie to reference.
Concept that some of these heads may have an extraterrestrial origin. Indeed, the Navajo...
What's funny is that we'll get into it later. He was actually told by the Smithsonian, who holds, I think 1 or 2 of the skulls, the Smithsonian Institute, had told him that it was a forgery, that it was a hoax, and he still believes it.
Navajo believe they were bestowed as a gift to their people by higher beings, not of this earth, as a means of cataloging sacred cultural knowledge from the past, assessing the present, and foretelling the future. Contrary to the common perception of the skull as a symbol representing death, the people from these cultures...
To quote the great philosopher Jay, of Jay and Silent Bob, movies are fucking bullshit, man.
The Aztec, Mayan, and the North American First Nations, for whom these artifacts possess sacred and mystical properties, associate the crystal heads with a life-affirming symbology. In ancient tellings, the heads are living and sentient, sources of knowledge, insight, and power.
Jesus Christ.
The Mexican Day of the Dead is an example of how in Latin America the skeleton is celebrated as an icon representing life beyond our corporeal existence.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted.
On the feast day, the dead are held to return and commune with the living.
Funny.
It is in this spirit that we brought our project this far. We now have a touchstone and replica, which allows us, if we wish, to connect to the message of the crystal head's purpose on Earth, the enlightenment of humankind to the spiritual awakening, which can occur in all of us, and the acceptance that there is more to life than mere material reality.
So I think this is roughly where he starts talking about the actual vodka itself, not just about the
will lead to a less violent and more harmonious world as we respect the idea of higher power sources. Now, what to put in a bottle laden with such symbology and iconographic value? Such a symbol which speaks to our own common universality should have joy associated with it, shouldn't it?
Well, look, all vodka is whatever. Vodka is a neutral grain spirit. It's supposed to taste like nothing. If it tastes like something, they can't legally call it vodka unless they say it's vodka with natural flavors or artificial flavors or something. By law, the TTB law is like it has to be distilled higher than I think like 95% alcohol by volume, and it can only be cut with like water, and it has to have no discernible like flavor characteristics. So for people to talk about, oh, it tastes so good, it's like it's not supposed to, like the flavors that are in vodka should be like very new. You should taste more of the water than the spirit.
Also, since we are challenging traditional belief,
Which, by the way, I mean, like, there are people who are connoisseurs of water, so it's understandable there'd be connoisseurs of vodka, but really we're playing on the margins here.
the project should have a challenging aspect to it as well. We have this mystic symbol in which we have chosen to enclose joy in the form of a very pure alcoholic beverage. Which beverage, however? Only the most challenging arena in the legal recreational consumables industry. Vodka.
Damn, this is so good.
Why another vodka? Because we have an opportunity to do something different and indeed enlightened in this category.
It's like how he puts down one bottle and then grabs two. It's all the same.
We are encouraging discussion on matters of spirit. We must do so in an earnest, heartfelt, and credible manner. The liquid in these bottles must be the purest as is achievable.
So basically all he says is that they went to Newfoundland, where everything is so free of pollution there because Newfoundland is so far away from, civilization, which it's not, and only the purest water. And then I wonder if they show that part where they filter it. Oh, here it is.
Through diamonds.
So they filter it through diamonds. So vodka, a lot of times they'll filter it with charcoal, and it's just a way to strip out any kind of flavonoids that are in it, like any kind of flavor components. And it's basically charcoal is just like carbon. And so condensed carbon is diamonds. The problem is diamonds don't really filter because they're so concentrated. There's nothing for the carbon to like hold on to it other than itself. So to filter it through this is just kind of like just filtering it through glass. It's just going to fall between the glass pieces, and that's it. It's not going to strip any kind of flavorings out of it. This is just this is almost just like a I don't know. This is not doing anything other than like, oh, we filtered it through diamonds. It's like, okay, but does that do anything? No. So like the whole thing is absolutely crazy. By the way, that reminds me, I actually heard a joke about Newfoundland people. Should I tell it? Should I tell it let me know before I start the oh god, that thing. We'll get into the Yaira trailer, don't worry. But should I tell my Newfoundland joke? It's a little long. But I assure you that it's worth it. Every time I've told it, it kills. Yeah, let's
the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about.
So last time I did show Rogan on one of my channels, I actually did get not dinged with copyright, but it was dinged with copyright, but it wasn't like taken down, but it was cut out. They had limited viewership or something like that.
They're fake or not, these were beautiful artifacts, and we've recreated it beautifully. But it's nice to know the true story, and I have a kind of a thought on the theory either way. So there's the Phyllis Newman skull named Max. She has to put it in the closet because it talks to her. There's
what? Wait. Hit the brakes.
Phyllis,
hit the brakes.
Sometimes Joe Rogan actually will be skeptical about things. Not always, but yeah.
It's a bunch with you. You're an excellent talker, sir.
He seems to be a little bit more skeptical nowadays. Earlier in the show, like he would buy into all kinds of weird crankery.
Oh, well, I was inoculated with a gramophone needle at birth. I could talk a taxi dispatcher into a vow of silence. I could talk an air raid siren to scrap. But
and you're obviously Canadian because you said slag.
Yeah, there you go.
I used to date a Canadian gal. She loved that term.
Oh, so wow. That's another tangent. Canadian gals and Canadian guys. So the Philip Newman skull, she got it. Its name is Max. She has to put it in the closet because it talks to her, she said. So there's the Mitchell Hedges.
Has it?
Yes, she does. Phyllis has that one. Then there's the Mitchell Hedges skull that's in Indiana. The man that took care of Anna at the end of her life eventually had it and got it. It sat in Grafton, Ontario for many years, and I never saw it, but people said when they walked into the room and she covered it with
Or if you drink bottles of it all the time and then quit cold turkey, then yeah, it'll definitely talk.
the cloth she kept it in, that there was an immediate
Alcohol
feeling of
also.
well-being and healing coming over to look at the original Mitchell Hedges skull. There's one in Mexico
Thank God
City.
I never-
It's one like one of our minis.
never-
It's got
never had
a cross stuck right in the top of it, which is, that would shatter a crystal if you did that. How that cross got there, I don't know. There's one at the Smith.
Maybe they put it in there carefully and made it look like it was just jammed in there. Like, I don't like, none of this is like skeptical at all about it's just like taking it full cloth. But Joe Rogan does interject at some point. I wonder if I can.
Fake is very strange because it's like they are.
How did they get to these different places around the world, and how were they found?
I'm gonna rewind that a bit.
And they're more beautiful, and there's some that are rougher, like that one there, and the green and the orange one. But she says all.
I mean, so this is telling if everything is like there's no standard of making it, they're all supposed to come from this because he talks about how they're like Mayan or something. If they're well, first of all, I don't think there's any. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's any quartz deposits, like large quartz deposits in that area. I think it was Mexico. I don't think there's any. They would have to go to the nearest quartz one. It would probably be like somewhere in South America, was where they start getting quartz deposits. But they're gonna. I don't know how they would travel to South America and then bring them all the way back just to make the skulls and then to evenly distribute them. Doesn't make any sense.
All fakes. But if they're all fakes, how did they get to these different places around the world, and how were they
It's probably because they're hoaxes.
found?
Well, here's the thing, but why fake? The word fake is very strange because it's like they are certainly real carved crystal skulls.
But
So
were
they're
they
real.
from tribal ancestry?
Right.
That's the question.
Who made them? Is the question.
Who
Were
made
they from
them?
modern Western
And
people?
how? Were they polished or were they carved? That's the thing. Aren't they beautiful? Oh, God.
What do the indigenous people say? They say they found them?
The Navajo say they came from the Star Children, that they were brought down and deposited and given to them as crystal ball devices, scrying devices to.
What's that one down there, Jamie? Keep scrolling where you were.
The green
one on
is
the left,
beautiful.
The one on the left right there that looks almost
I
like a
wonder
real
what natives he's talking about.
skull.
Because there's like a lot of people like kind of like Native Americans are a very diverse group. They're very different. Every tribe is like very different, and a lot of them were very different on like what the practices and religions were. But we all just kind of be like, oh no, they're all like environmentalists that daintily, cross everything and use everything that they killed. Some of them kind of were, not really, but then a lot of them were really into like slash and burn agriculture, and a lot of them thought that if you didn't kill every bison or animal that you saw, that the gods wouldn't replenish them. It's really weird.
Oh, it is a real skull.
Yeah, no, the green is beautiful. So I guess, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a professional historian. I guess I have to trust the lady at the Smithsonian, but then I question, they were
He mentions earlier that
found at different times in
she said it was
history
a hoax.
around the world. How do you go and seed? How do you deposit them there?
Why does she believe that? Has she given a coherent reason why she thinks that they're all hoaxes? Or is she
I
just
guess
like-
she's done her analysis, whatever they've done, to their skulls. But again, the Hewlett-Packard engineers took that Mitchell Hedges skull and they said this have not have been polished. It would have been cracked or destroyed. It could not have been built by tools. It would have been cracked or destroyed. It had to have been polished. Yeah.
So, but what about some sort of a very fast moving?
By the way, I need to mention, I really don't want to do this now that Telly's here, but here we are. I do. The Malort rules in effect. Rules are down below. $sign lolberts. And I also have my barrel-aged Malort. Both of these are absolutely disgusting. But anyways, let's get back to the show.
drill with a diamond bit on it that can slowly grind.
Subscribe, like, and comment if you want me to get on the Rogan show. Having to start over on YouTube has been a pain in the ass for sure.
Down.
Well, that would be them. There'd be marks that would be visible under the scanner.
Couldn't you polish those marks down?
I think that the intensity of the Hewlett-Packard scrutiny revealed that there were none of those marks, and that's why they were able to make their claim.
Here's the problem with this: is like you want them to be real, right? Don't you?
Oh yeah, I love the legend.
I do too. I do too. But I don't trust me.
No, neither do I.
So when
that's why I say openly.
when you're saying all these things, I want to believe you. I want them to be from the sky people.
I do too, but again, you've got a professional in Washington at our National Museum there who says no, they're not.
Yeah,
so.
but what does she know?
Well, we could.
She might be
forget
one
her
of
name.
them
We should
party
get her
poopers.
on the phone.
She might be a party pooper. She
Well,
might be one of them ladies.
I think that she's probably as in love with the skulls, even though they are, not polished in her mind. I bet she loves them as much as we do.
But the thing is, if you are a professional intellectual or someone who's a curator of fine artwork and ancient relics, you kind of have to be one of those people that dismisses anything preposterous. Because if not,
that's right. Like Neil Tyson, don't you love him?
Yes, I love him to death.
I love Neil. But there's no way you can sit down and say Neil, Barney, and Betty Hill were abducted by a flying saucer in 1957. He's not going to accept that because he can't accept that because everything in his training, everything in his knowledge, everything that he knows about physics and science and propulsion in the universe and how to get from place to place defies the legend, or I would say defies the theory that there are extraterrestrial advanced ships out there. He can't accept it. It's just
I don't think. I really don't want to defend Neil deGrasse Tyson. I really do hate him, and I hate him because like anytime there's anything that comes out, he's like, "Oh, by the way, a ball like BB-8 can't possibly roll on sand." It's like, shut up. Just enjoy things, please. Just enjoy things. You don't have to ruin everything. There's certain things you should ruin, like astrology. Yeah, ruin that, okay? But don't just ruin popular media. How many times do we need to hear that? What was that line from? It's been so long. I'm so over Star Wars. What was that line where he's like, something was it made the Kessel Run and whatever parsecs, and he's like, well, actually, parsecs are like a unit of distance, not a unit of time. It's like, shut up. Shut up. But anyways, no, I think the real reason why Neil deGrasse Tyson would not accept this is just because there's no evidence for it. I don't think he would doubt that it's possible that there might be a civilization somewhere in the universe that has figured out interstellar travel in some way or another. I think his problem is there's just no evidence. So let's just fucking move along. Dan Aykroyd's a piece of shit. He fucking sued someone for having a skull bottle, which I would thought when I was at the liquor store, I was even looking in the rum section. It'd be like, would there be like a pirate skull with crossbones and a bandana and an eye patch? Like that'd be kind of cool. It wasn't even anything like that. So it turns out that he's going around suing everybody to make sure that he's the only thing that has a skull bottle. Fuck him. You can quote me. So that's why we're talking shit. But anyways, we're done with this. I just wanted to piss on him a little bit for preventing me from getting a skull tequila bottle. So let's talk about Yaira. For those of you who don't know, Eric July has decided to start a comic. I tried reading the first or comic book company. I started to read ISOM, and then it became very apparent very quickly. And not only that, but I had other people telling me the same thing, that there's no real story there. So I ended up reading like half of it. I just kind of scanned the rest of it, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of dumb. Basically, there's no story. And I talked about how story like people who are not storytellers get a bad idea of how to tell stories just because they see cool things in TV shows or whatever. And they think that it's just a series of like, this cool thing happened, and then this cool thing happened, and then this cool thing happened. And one of the most interesting things that I've ever watched in terms of writing was the creators of South Park showed up on some acting school, and they had televised, I think it was on MTV or something. And they talked about how one of the best things they ever learned was like how to tell stories is not have like a bunch of sequences that go, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. But if you have two plot beats, and the thing that travels from one plot beat to the next plot beat is, and then you're fucked. It should be but or therefore. So this happens, but this happens. Therefore, this happens, but this happens, therefore this happens, but this happens, and therefore this happens. If you can structure your story like that, it gets much more interesting. Also, just typical hero's journey type stories where there's 3 sections, or what do they call them? Acts those are really good methods of storytelling. You can deviate from that if you're a really experienced storyteller, and a lot of directors have done that, or writers have done that. But those are like really bizarre stories that are very different, and they know what they're doing before they can jump into doing something a little bit more abstract. But that kind of plot beat kind of works, and it's engaging with most audiences in some way or another. But basically, the story is just there's just some guy, you don't really know anything about him, and he finds out that someone was kidnapped, and so he goes to like a gangster and asks him what happened, and then they kick him out. And then as he's being kicked out, like there's like some space woman or something flying around, superhero woman, he like throws him on a car, and then he goes to the hospital and he escapes from the hospital. He meets the girl that told him that someone was kidnapped, and then he goes back to fight the guy again who beat him up the first time, and he wins. And there's no, he just loses the first time, then he goes back and wins. There's no like, oh, then I trained harder, I remembered my skills, or I worked out to get stronger. There was none of that. It was just, I'm just going to go back and fight him again and hope I win. Oh, I happen to win this time. So there's no real story there. It's just a series of things that happen. And there's no real motivation other than the guy disrespected me at the club. And it was just kind of lame. And a lot of people were talking how bad it was. And it turned out all the things that were in the comics that were drawn weren't actually drawn. They were using CG renders, and it made everything look kind of flat or just like unrealistic. It was just very kind of lame looking. And there's just been like a whole bunch of like back and forth with him and trolls, and he just keeps feeding trolls, and it's just so weird. And all of his subsequent comics have been like losing money. I mean, they've been profitable, but comparative to the previous release, they're just not making as much money as they are. And the people that are buying the stuff are usually making like giant orders, rather than like a lot of people buying like one copy. There's like someone who would buy like the super deluxe pack that comes with a t-shirt or some shit. And that's not really a sustainable business model. But he ended up hiring these two girls called the Sloska sisters, who have a long history of like making like almost porn with like almost like satanic kind of imagery to it, which, like he's supposed to be like making this company, and they're like, not only that, but they're like SJWs, and they believe in like trans kids and stuff. And he let them like write two comic books, one of which was Yara, which we're going to watch the trailer for the comic book. Why there's a trailer for a live action trailer for a comic book, I don't know why. And we're going to watch this. This is probably up there with like Neil Breen in terms of bad. And they're all very proud of this, even released like a making of. We'll probably watch that too, but this is embarrassing, and we'll break it down, I guess. Aliens actually invented Arby's. Honestly, I believe that. I don't care what anyone says. Arby's is great. The Reuben is great. The French dip is great. The curly fries are top notch. So yeah. So it's already kind of ripping off Marvel very poorly. Which I really don't get this. If he's supposed to be like hardcore Christian, and Isom has a cross on his belt, but then there's like this weird blood moon and two crosses in a graveyard, looks like. Twisted. Yeah. It's just so bizarre. And like title cards for, hold on. Why are there title cards for a trailer? What Vosh thing? Did I miss something about Vosh? The last time I heard about him, he went like hardcore, like Christian, and denounced all of his old works and stuff. Which I guess
this is gonna be tough.
That's Eric July talking. By the way, he had been denying that Isom is a self-insert. And then he voices
my body to do things that people like me shouldn't be able to do. But unfortunately for me, blind.
Okay. Like none of this makes sense. So you have like people standing around. I guess these are like the super police of anarcho-capitalist future Houston, Texas. And they're just standing around this car and they're just looking up and they're like, oh, what could possibly happen about this guy falling from the sky over a car? What could possibly happen? We're just going to stare out here. Then we're going to wait for him to land before we do anything. We have like this camera shot. Where was this camera shot?
People like me shouldn't be able to do.
So it looks very
But
slow.
unfortunately for me, flying ain't one of them.
Don't follow me.
Like usually if everybody's looking up and they're seeing someone falling, which I don't know if something called their attention. Why would they just be standing around while someone's falling? Wouldn't they try to get out of the way? What? Wait. Oh, please send me this. Please send me this. Please send me whatever this is. I need to know. I'd love to cover Vosh. Oh, Vosh. Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought you were talking about Roosh V. I don't know why I was thinking about Roosh V. But yes. We'll cover that. I'll make a note of it. So let's continue the cringe. We'll talk about
biologist and archaeologist who we feel is going to be an undeniable asset here at Projexus. Won't you please join me in welcoming her to our team? Dr. Sally Rodell.
Okay. Before we hit play, and if you have not seen it, what do you think that this scientist at a science convention or not a convention, but I guess like a press conference, what do you think that this scientist is going to say? It doesn't have to be exact. Just give me like what's going to be her first words out of her mouth. Is it going to be like, thank you all for coming to this press conference where we are talking about this archaeological dig? What do you think? And by the way, look at those contacts. I don't know if they're contacts or no, that's a contact. Those are contacts. She's crooked. This eye is looking this way down here, and then this eye is looking straight ahead. The contacts are in wrong.
Adopt or die.
Okay. Adopt or die.
Adopt or die.
So that's probably Slavic. I don't know. Okay, so this guy's running this way. This guy's running towards me, right? I don't know where the threat is coming from that everyone's running from.
Secure the area until Alpha Corps can arrive.
And then where this guy ran, this lady's coming from, that's one of the Slaska sisters. She's making a little cameo. And I don't even know what she's saying.
Corps can arrive.
Solari! Save us!
Solari, save us? I don't know who Solari is. If something is still happening, why do they have the police tape up already?
It is the truest law of the earth. Very few things have the ability to survive the test.
So that's a combination of different accents. It's Russian, and I want to say it's either Scottish or Irish. I want to say Irish because Irish is more like the front of the mouth. Like I met them on the road a long time ago. Like everything's on the front of the mouth. And then Slavic is much more on the back, like and so she's jumping between. And from what I understand, what they said is that she had a dialect coach. So this is a dialect coach and by the way, she's supposed to be Icelandic. None of this makes sense. I don't know why she's speaking Slavic and Irish, but it's supposed to be, I think the only Iceland person I know of is Bjork. She does not talk like Bjork. Hold on. What is Bjork? What is Bjork? Bjork interview. Oh, the TV thing.
And also seeing Icelandic comic people making jokes, which they are very good at.
Yeah, that's not. She says it all.
Though we may not be around to see them to their fullest fruition, what we struggle to create now will be the triumphant echoes from the past.
Alpha Corps be here in 5 minutes! Hold the line!
5 minutes? Thanks for the heads up.
Thonks. Thonks for the heads up. So she could have just walked straight.
Thanks for the heads
But she
up.
decides to like push him out of the way for like no reason.
I was here.
Why?
I lived. I am still here. Among you.
I don't even know what she said after that. After we're still here.
Among you.
Oh, among you.
Among you.
Among you. Among you.
Among you.
I can't even understand most of what she says. Or not most. A good portion of it. I can't understand. I don't know how that's a threat. Okay, so this is a common mistake. Okay. So she comes in.
I was here.
Okay, so this is like the 180 rule. And you'll see this in movies a lot. When there's like a fight scene, it's even in like, I think it's in comic books too. It needs to be. Where you'll see like you have like this character and then this character and they're fighting, right? They never like switch them around. And if they do switch them around, they'll have like some sort of like camera panning around to show you like, okay, we're switching sides now. Or they'll show them like switch sides, like they'll run past each other or something, and then they'll come back. And then you're like, okay, now, so your brain wants to think, and when it sees visual media, it wants to think that things are always the same. And when something switches for no reason and there's no explanation why they switch, your brain goes, wait, hold on. And it takes a while for it to go, oh, okay, they switched. Okay. Your brain, you don't notice it, but your brain does, to quote the great philosopher Mike Salaska. And it's confusing. So she's coming in this way.
I am still here. Among you.
She's coming in. She's coming in this way towards this person. That's what my brain is telling me is going to happen. She's going to interact with this person. She's going to come in this way. But then she's coming in this way to fly. And then she's back down this way. I don't get it. It hurts my head to even look at this. And all they had to do, I don't think there was anything in that shot. I don't think there was anything in that shot that is... They could have just mirrored it. And they could have mirrored the other shot if they thought that it was a problem. That's a kind of a weird way to fly. You can actually kind of see how she's being pulled up by a string. She kind of wobbles.
Sweet dreams chilled.
Sweet dreams chilled. Okay, is it chilled like chilled or child? I'm guessing she said child. But it sounds like she said chilled.
Sweet dreams chilled.
And like Russians wouldn't say chilled, they'd say child. Child. Sweet dreams, child.
It is that struggle that is the friction of creation.
Creation.
I would like to thank Mr. Eusebio.
I think it might be Scottish. I think she's jumping between Scottish. I think she's Canadian. Not even an actress. She's like a bodybuilder. So she basically has an American accent. I don't know what kind of Canadian. I'm guessing she doesn't say a boot. It's doing an Icelandic accent that's a combination of Scottish and Russian, Eastern Bloc.
For allowing me the opportunity to discover and create. Alongside my esteemed colleagues at Projexus. Thank you.
Thank you. But did you say thank you again differently? Or thank?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, she said it the same. That's weird. She said thank 2 different ways.
An archaeologist? It's a bit archaic, isn't it?
That wig.
She's well studied.
That Party City wig. Who is that fooling?
Jerry, but if you want to question her credentials, be my guest.
That's not what I was saying. It's just an unusual area of expertise to pair with biology.
Well, Dr. Rodell, from my understanding, is an unusual woman. Don't be threatened, Jerry. She's on our side.
Yeah, don't be threatened. Don't be threatened by a strong, independent woman. Don't need no man.
She's on our unusual woman.
I think she's cockeyed again. No, actually, that one's in kind of straight. This one's a little crooked. This one's kind of cross-eyed this way a little bit more than this one. This one's looking straight. This one's cockeyed a little bit.
Don't be thrown.
Accurate.
Jerry. She's on our side.
It's a little deaf in there.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Photo?
That wig. It's killing me. This shot is drawn on way too long.
You took that like a chomp.
Were you
Like a
trying to knock
chomp.
me out?
No.
It took that like a chomp.
Were you trying to knock me out?
You took that like a chomp.
Were you trying to knock me out?
No. If it's meant to be a death blow.
Well, everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. Where did the blood splatter? I don't see the blood splatter. If she would have got hit, she would have been, the blood would have been like kind of over here.
You took that like a chomp.
Were you trying to knock me out?
Were you trying to knock me out? Is that how you would sound if you just got punched after you vomited light into the sky? You trying to knock me out? Be like, oh, are you trying to knock me out?
No. If it's meant to be a death blow.
Meant. Why? How much money did this cost? From what I understand, there was rumors saying that like the Canadian taxpayers paid for this because it was Canadian production. But then I heard it didn't qualify, so they actually did have to pay. And then there's like a good 2 minutes of just credits for a trailer. Hold on. Wait a minute. Subway. They ordered Subway and they put them down to skate. I can't. Oh, I can't. Why? Oh. Bringing on that Fay Ranch. I'm telling you. It's amazing. Probably one of the best burgers I've ever had.
Winter is here.
What? Why is that
Is here.
supposed to be a Game of Thrones reference?
Winter is here.
I can't with this. Why did they make this? I don't know. Why did they make this? So, Garbage Main, what's up, man? Garbage Main wants me to describe the Fray Ranch, which I already told you the story. From what I understand, they're not using dent corn. I don't think it says on here what kind of corn they're using, but it's not yellow dent. It's not a feed corn. It's a 4-grain. Okay. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, it is yellow dent. 66% yellow dent corn, 10% winter wheat, 4% winter rye. So very low. Oh, 11.4, excuse me. 11.4%. 12% two-row barley. So it is a little bit high for, yeah. It's, the nose is just out there. It reminds me a lot of like, Law's 4-grain. Yeah, there's a lot of grain in it. The grain it's almost oily. It lasts a long time. A little oaky, caramel, vanilla. I want to say like, I don't know, maybe like animal cracker. It might have been primed to say some sort of cracker because I saw the Whiskey Tribe review of it and they said graham cracker. I don't get graham cracker. I get some kind of cracker in it. But it's the finish on it just keeps going and it's just kind of just keeps with you. It is magic. Like the only other bourbon I'd say was probably be as good as the I do really enjoy the Knob Creek. It was a Knob Creek 9 years single barrel that's like 120 proof, but that's 120 proof. This stacks up to it and it's only 95 proof. Oh, 90 proof. Wow. It does punch above its weight for sure. It is kind of sharp though. I will say that. I think that's the only problem with it is it is a little sharp for a 90 proof. It's a little sharp. Not too bad. Sweet bread. Yeah. There's a lot of oak spice, cinnamon and oak spice in it. Oh, it's so good. 9 out of 10. Let's talk about Vosh. Why is my caps lock on? There's got to be a compilation. I remember sending jeez. I want to find that clip. I know I sent it to. I don't want to open up Discord. I remember sending it to someone. Does anyone have that clip somewhere? Like, do you know what it's called? But there was like a clip where they just montaged all of. I'm probably not going to find it with that term. Yeah. Anyway, so to give you some context, like Vosh for a while had been making comments on his Discord server about how he's like obsessed with horse things. I'm purposely not showing my screen right now while I'm looking this up. PDF files. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, it was on about like horse equine phallus. I guess that's the YouTube friendly way of saying it. He was like, which whatever, that's gross, but whatever. The problem is that he also had been making lots of comments defending possession of cheese pizza, let's put it, saying that, and I think what he was trying to do was make a broader point about how people do consume unethical things like chocolate is all that stuff comes from like a lot of that stuff comes from like slave labor. Computer parts have cell phones have chips in it that are like conflict minerals. And because we consume those, that you can't really say that cheese pizza is bad because cheese pizza is unethical how it's produced and stuff. And it's like, okay, but there's a difference here, is that my cell phone and my computer can be done ethically. I can get conflict-free metal consumer goods. You can buy chocolate that comes from regions that don't have slave labor. There is no way that you can consume cheese pizza that doesn't involve harming actual kids. But he keeps trying to make this argument. And anytime someone tries to defend him or he tries to defend those comments, it's like, oh, no, that's just trying to bring up a larger point. It's like, that may be the point. But at the same time, you're also making that argument. It's two arguments you're making, and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It's very unethical to have cheese pizza on your computer. So he made this comment numerous times. I had reached out to someone who was in the LP who had in Texas, because they had invited him as a speaker, or not a speaker, but someone to debate another person who was there. And I was like pulling strings. I was like, dude, why are you letting this guy on? I sent him the montage of those clips. And they still let him on for some reason. Why? I don't know. So anyways, not too long ago, he was doing a live stream and he right-clicked something on his computer to save it, and his porn folder showed up, and he immediately went, whoa, and delete into the stream. A lot of people caught it, and they started dissecting it, and the pictures that were on there were, one in particular that was extremely disturbing was a couple of what they call lollies, which are characters in anime that are drawn intentionally underage. But don't worry, they're actually 1,000,000 years old. But I don't think anybody makes themselves happy to those pictures and thinks like, oh yeah, 1,000-year-old women. No, they're looking at them and they're imagining actual children, and they're attracted to the body shape of children. So anyways, one of those pictures had like a couple of lollies, and they were consuming horse juice, trying to make this as PG as possible. It's not gonna last long. And people were defending it. Oh my god, in defense of lolicon and lolly art. I don't even want to know. Jeez. Oh, here it is. I found the clip. Okay, I found it. Let's watch it. Oh, this is only the 8 second. I need all of the clips.
In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal. Why possession of child pornography should be illegal.
Well, first of all, it's I wouldn't even call it porn. Porn implies that there's like something like sexually provocative about it. It's really, at the end of the day, what it is exploitation material. It's child abuse material. See, I think the new term for it now is like CSAM, which means child sexual abuse material, which I think is more fitting term for it, because it's not sexy. It's not sexy at all. It's just kids being abused. No, but there is a moral case against it. Like, there's actual children being harmed in the production of the stuff. Obviously. And when you're possessing it, you're encouraging and supporting the market that encourages that as well. So of course it's awful. Now here's the thing. So if you somehow like stumble on like a hard drive that's laying in the middle of the street and it has that stuff on there, and you put it on your computer and you save a copy and you're not distributing it anywhere, like, are you actually creating any harm? No. But I think that what should be done is that sort of material should not be allowed in any kind of community. Should not allow it. Anybody who takes that stuff needs to be expelled and from the community. And I wouldn't be sad or anything if something, happened to them and they just kind of disappeared. I would not even care. I'd be like, okay, that pedophile died. Okay, cool, I guess. Like, yeah, I mean, I get it that it's not hard case. But anytime you start making any kind of arguments like that, it always looks like, oh, you're defending child pornography. It's like, no, it's absolutely terrible. And if I found out anybody I know consume that stuff, I'd probably would fight long and hard to make sure that I didn't punch the hell out of them. But as much as I would be tempted to just beat the living shit out of them if I found out they were consuming that stuff. It's awful. Shouldn't be allowed or permitted or anything at all. And so long as there is a government, I'm fine if they want to crack down on it. I don't care. I don't care if it's a violation of the in-app. I really don't care. I'm fine with exceptions, and I think that's a good exception. I really do. Anyways. Yeah, see, this is the one I was talking about. That's okay. I understand that it's drawings, but if you understand how this sort of thing operates, how pedophiles come to be, a lot of it comes into like extreme porn addiction. It comes from a few things. One of let's go through all of them, I guess. Usually, like a lot of times, it's people who were abused themselves when they were a child, and they're passing it on. It's just something like it's like a trauma coping mechanism, is that they do it to other people, which is bad. Don't get me, all forms of these are bad. None of these are justifications. I'm just explaining them. So you have that. Then you have the people who are really stupid. They're not very bright, and they're maybe emotionally stunted as well. And the only people that they can connect with intellectually and emotionally is with children, because that's what their mental level is. And you'll find like a lot of people who are caught on To Catch a Predator. A lot of them are really stupid people. There's some smarter people, but you'll catch a lot of them. You're just like, this guy's an idiot. there's a lot of them. And then the other ones come from like very extreme porn addictions. They get really into it, and then their regular stuff is just not good enough. So they go into any number of directions, one of which would be like almost abuse type, extreme, like what's the term? Rough stuff, BDSM, more extreme versions of that. And then some of them will actually get into like the really taboo stuff, like incest or rape or child pornography. And that's usually how it goes. So if you're consuming a lot of like hentai, it just doesn't matter if the formats changes, if it's actual people acting or if it's artificially generated, or which that would be considered artificial, right? It's not real. it's human made, drawn stuff. It's no different. If you're consuming that stuff, a lot of those people who consume that end up want to act on those behaviors. So if they, I better get this. I don't want to put this on you. Sorry, garbage man. I'm not explaining this to you. Anyways, yeah. It's they get really into it, and usually people, you'll find that people who are into one particular type of genre of pornography, they'll want to act that out in real life. So they may stumble onto a BDSM, they may think that it's erotic, and then they want to go out and meet someone who's really into BDSM, whatever it is. And so that's usually the case with hentai too. And in fact, Vosh, even though he had been making comments about horse stuff, he at one point actually said, and I don't know if he was making a joke or not, but given what we've known now, it wouldn't surprise me. He actually said at one point that he wanted to find someone who was a little bit slow and convince them to make a horse a little bit happier, make their day a little bit happier. Let's put it that way. So no, I don't put anything of that past him. It's gross. All that stuff's gross. And it seems as though he has now kind of drifted away completely from the internet. I don't know if he's been streaming at all lately. Let me see. When was the last time he uploaded something to you? Oh, when was the last time he uploaded something? Oh, 9 hours ago. Okay, so he's still doing stuff. I don't think he's actually commented. I think that's what it's right. And it's kind of funny that like he's been like calling people like Nazis and stuff, and those people have just been responding with, I don't care what a horse fucker thinks. He's oh, here we go. I found it. There we go. Found it. This one was great.
Dolores, did you hear about what Vosh said about you? Yeah, I think he said I'm a Nazi. That's interesting. Looking good? I think it does look good. Mr. Beast candy bar? Mr. Beast candy bar's an F tier. That is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. Wait, really? Yeah. Showed up late? How was the chocolate bar? It tasted like shit. The Mr. Beast bar tasted like shit. He thinks everyone's a Nazi. That is true. I'm not really concerned if a horse fucker thinks I'm a Nazi, though. I don't really, I don't take life advice from people who are fixated on horse cock. Sorry. You microdosing right now? Nice. I'm microdose every day.
Is she still talking about it?
I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna call it here, chat.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all screwed up. Like if you're like Ollie, I'm sorry. I don't know how you could like, if you're consuming that stuff in a way that's like supposed to be erotic for you, you're supposed to be getting off to it, I guess, right way, and you're getting off to depictions of people who are underage, regardless if they're in the story millions of years old. I don't care. If you're consuming that stuff, that's really telling about what you find sexually attractive in the real world too. It is, and that's why you'll see hentai characters drawn with like big butts and big boobs and pretty faces and stuff. It's because it's trying to elicit some sort of like sexual response from you. And if you're getting that response from images of like 9-year-olds, what look like 9-year-olds, even though they're 9 million years old, doesn't matter. That makes you a pedophile. Sorry, it does. By the way, can we just watch Bjork talk about her TV for a second? Let's just do that right now. Because why not? I love Bjork.
Hello, it is Christmas time and I'm sitting here by my TV. I've been watching it very much lately because I'm on a holiday and I've been seeing all those programs about all sorts of things, about Icelandics being very happy about Christmas, very gay and also very serious and spiritual.
I like how they have the boom mic in the shot.
And also seeing Icelandic comic people making jokes, which they are very good at. But now
it's so bizarre.
They take care of that. They are powerful enough to get all the way through. Where
I don't care if she's a 99-year-old vampire. She looks like she's 9.9 years old. You're not getting off the fact she's a 900-year-old vampire. You're getting off the fact she looks like she's 9.
The thing that throws the picture from it just sends lights on the screen. But sure.
By the way, should we? I don't know if we should bring him up. I do know Shane Killian had made a couple of videos about this topic. Should we dig those up? Or should we just let sleeping dogs lie? Should we not swat the hornet's nest?
But because there's so many of them, and in fact you're watching very, very many frames when you're watching TV, your head is very busy all the time to calculate and put it all together into one picture. And then, because you're so busy to...
I'm attracted to numbers. Yeah, sure you are, pal. That's what it is. Oh, should we watch the behind the scenes for the IRA? Someone actually did a review of it. What is this?
Floorspar can be an unpredictable city.
So this is, hold on. I hate to get sidetracked, but I got sidetracked. This is Alpha Core, which is supposed to be like, you'll see it. They looks like General Zod. When you see it, you're gonna be like, holy shit, that's General Zod. But they're supposed to be like the space police, I guess, of this fictional world of the Ripperverse, I guess. I have not seen this.
But fluency doesn't mitigate.
What is with the pigeons? Why does everything have pigeons? This is the second one. This is the second trailer I've seen for his comic. They insist on showing me a pigeon.
Its problems. In some ways, it amplifies.
So far, it's competent.
This is why we're deployed. But we've seen better days.
So far, this is competent. I don't know why they just didn't do another one of these. So, hold on. So that's Alpha Core, right? I don't know. Zaz. Sorry. Typo. Where's all three of the General Zod characters comics. I gotta put comics. Sorry. So wants to show me the film versions of them. Where's General Zod? Yeah. They're only just showing me the actual General Zod and not like the two people that are with him. I guess that's one. Where's the one with the helmet? There's can't see it. What the hell? But all the depictions of General Zod. Maybe this is it. One of them was actually wearing a helmet too. That's Superman the movie. God, where is the pictures that are Olive's in it? This is Bing. Maybe Google will help. What is all of them together? It's not just General Zod. Zod. Comics. Comics. Yeah, I'm not seeing all three of them. But yeah, anyways, General Zod in the comic books, you'll see him. Yeah, you'll see him there's like a guy with the helmet. I don't think it has a little chin strap, or is that a beard? It's a chin strap. And then you see like a guy and then a female. It's very much a General Zod kind of.
Then why are we just now debriefing?
This mission is not complete.
I only know of her. Our luck. Then why?
I think the main Alpha Core guy, he sounds a lot like Lino.
Why are we just now debriefing?
This mission is not complete.
I only know of her.
Is not complete.
Okay, the mouth voice.
Then why are we just now debriefing?
This mission is not complete.
Yeah, that's not right.
I only know of her. Our lack of data collection is a problem.
Valdez.
Other than the mouth thing, it seems pretty
I'm aware
confident.
of your investigative talents. Braxwell spoke highly of you, and that's why you're on this team.
Okay, I take it back. It's not competent. I take it all back. It's not competent at all. It started out competent. Like all this stuff is competent. That's cool.
But there are those with...
Anytime there's not fighting going on, it's terrible. That's terrible.
Local law enforcement handles itself very well.
Very well.
But there are those with abilities. Some believe themselves to be good. Others don't even attempt to act as if they are.
I think this is also bad. This is not embarrassingly bad. It's just like, okay, you just chinced out on some production. Just stills. Okay. Where's the making of Yaira behind the scenes? Here we go. Bad. This is so fucking bad. Why do they have title cards again? I'm getting Tommy Wiseau vibes from the title card stuff. Who is this? Vinor Vange? I'm not familiar. I don't read a lot of sci-fi.
Eric July, founder, owner of Riververse, creator of Isom, Yaira, and some of the initial characters of this entire universe. I wear many hats here, but I would not have it any other way.
Working on Yaira has been amazing. To be gifted the opportunity to be her writers, I consider that we are her nannies. Eric July gave birth to her, and then he's like, I need a strong female influence ×2. Action! It's It's been my longest childhood dream to be able to give a future generation of fans what I got from comic books. Like, these women and these men, they taught me how to be strong. They taught me how to have morals, and morals not because like you're afraid of like.
Is that the morals that like you had, like you were like stalking some little kid to make a weird porn?
Hell, but doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And to be able to do that for a whole new generation, man.
To see,
like you start. So, like we talked about how that scene where.
But do.
Yeah, so all the libertarian sci-fi writers are passing away. Is that what you're saying? We had J. Neil Schulman. Sorry, Neil J. Schulman. Then we had L. Neil Smith. And now this guy. I'm not very familiar with Vinage. I don't know. So we talked about how that there was like one guy running towards the thing in panic, and then there was another person running away in panic, and another person running like the other way in panic. You kind of forget like how planned everything is in film shoots. So they're planning this, and they're like, "Hey, guy, run this way and scream." And then you run from that direction and scream. No one ever thought like, "Hey, shouldn't they all be running away from the same thing? If they're running away from something, not running in all different directions." Someone has to have been running towards the thing that they're scared of.
New generation, man.
To see not only the characters brought to life, that in itself is unbelievable, but there's certain scenes that are basically direct adaptations for what is happening in the comics. And that's just crazy to me to see that play out and be brought to life in the way that it is. It's unbelievable. Like I said, it's something that I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to it. I'm fine with that because it's an amazing experience when you see when everything's set up, makeup, all, costume, everything. And they're like, that's a character that I created.
Walking on set and seeing Yaira off the panels, that's like the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, I love doing stunts because I do. It makes me feel like a superhero, honestly. I feel like, you know.
I'm just going to keep this on for the rest of the stream if I can.
we got the pulse rate going heart rate going a little bit faster than normal.
I think that it's such a creative, universe that Eric has created. Having Yaira, as the lead in this is something that a lot of people are going to be able to look up to, and it's just kind of a cool twist. It's such an original universe.
When you've got DC and Marvel kind of owning the planet, I think that he's come up in the middle and shown there's
is that his natural hair? Why don't they just use his natural hair if that's his natural hair, or if that's a different wig? Why not just use that? Why? It's not that much different. That just looks so much better if that is a wig.
There's an audience for the alternates to DC and Marvel, and he's really an amazing artist. He's the fact that he's created this because he just wanted to make a comic book, and then there was so much interest in him and in what he's doing that he went from a goal of 100,000 to what was it, 2 million? Amazing artist. He's the fact that he's created this comic book, and there was so doing that he went from a goal of 100,000 to what was it, 2 million? Audience for the alternate.
Fucking, excuse my language, they're gonna fucking want more.
Writing for Marvel is what introduced us to Eric July, and I remember knowing that he's a huge comic nerd, and so people are like, oh, we sent your comic to him to see what he would say, and everyone was like, oh, you're gonna get ripped apart, and I was like, no, I think this guy's gonna like it. And Eric loving that was so cool, and that's how we kind of became friends. So every time we would write an issue, we partially wrote it in mind being like, oh, I bet this Eric July guy's gonna review it. I want it to be really boss, and I want him to really dig it. Working with Eric and getting to develop a friendship, and he's a guy that we text at 4 a.m, and I ask like, hey, how tall is Altona? And is she nearsighted or farsighted? And
fucking cringe. It's so fucking cringe when you actually know who the Slavska sisters are. I don't know if I can watch this whole thing. This is so unbelievably bad. And so, like, sucking your own thing. So this is who they are. What have they made? Known for American Mary, Elevator. What is American Mary?
I'm changing specialties, Dr. Grant. Have you ever heard of body modification?
This is.
Voelen wie Dr. Mengele heute Abend.
What's that?
Twins, ja?
Yeah.
No, they're not twins. They don't look like twins. The lure of easy money sends Mary Mason, a medical student, into the world of underground surgeries, which ends up leaving more marks on her than her so-called freakish clients. This is just fucking bizarro.
He's so cool about it, and you can tell he actually cares.
Yeah,
I was really stoked.
That's just, it's like, oh, I need to know how tall this character is. You're gonna write a comic and then go like, I wonder what this guy on YouTube is gonna think of it.
To see the illustrations.
I mean, I can understand if you consider him to be like, it makes sense because a lot of people want notes, right? A lot of people, if they write creative works like this, they want to send it out to people and be like, be as critical as possible. Like, I want not even constructive criticism. I just want criticism so that I can know my mistakes. And they have that kind of ethic. Let's just assume the best of it. And be as charitable as possible. But Eric July, anytime someone tells him, like, has some constructive criticism of his book, like, he just loses it.
Of Stefania first, and you can just almost, it helps you imagine the character because it's so well thought out before, and you're like, okay, cool, I can see what kind of damage this character can do and how destructive she can be, but also has this really human component about her too, even though she's discovering her powers for the first time. It's really epic to see those two worlds combine.
No, I love Eric. I mean, yeah, I was lucky enough to get to talk to him on set that day for about half an hour, and
but they're treating this like as if this is actually, they're making a movie. It's telling an engaging story, and it assumes that the reader is, or the watcher is, familiar with the comics. If you're pitching a comic book and you're making a trailer for a comic book and use real life, I don't understand that. But let's just say that that's a good idea. Let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that's supposed to be a good idea. The trailer should at least try to explain, like, what's going on, and not just have like a series of things that are happening and they're like, I don't know what's happening. Usually trailers are supposed to, like, let you know what the thing you're about to see, or what you want them to purchase in some way, what it is that they're purchasing, not just like, here's just a bunch of things that are happening. Well, I don't know what's happening. You have like a scientist who's giving a speech, then beating up some random person. We don't even know that person's name. It's never explained. I'm just supposed to know. I'm supposed to have bought the previous things. I don't know if Eric has been, if he has, then it'd be a right criticism to make of all the stuff about Marvel. Now, a lot of that stuff, you have to watch streaming stuff for the movies, the new movies, to make sense. If he's been critical of that, then that'd be weird for him to do that. I don't know if he has been. I don't watch his stuff anymore because it's so bad. it's almost unwatchable, the stuff that he's producing now.
It's
just him fucking losing his shit about people criticizing him.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that he created.
I'm an successful businessman. I'm doing business, and I'm successful at my business. And let me give you some hints on how you can do a business. If any business involves me making something as garbage as this, I'm not interested.
Something that obviously the fans are responding to in such a big way.
Greenlaid, he flew all the way to Canada, which is insane.
I will say that the fiber optics in her hair does.
And he's playing a really hands-on role, which I think is just so.
I'm trying to find something to compliment. I'm sorry.
A leader in this.
Yeah, they are. They're talking about him like, oh, he's so fucking great. He's so fucking wonderful. You would have to be doing that to him 24 hours a day for you to keep your job there.
Saska sisters are so incredible to work with. They are so determined. They're so intelligent, and it's so great working with them to bring this comic book to life. I trust the sisters and I trust their vision, and the fans are absolutely gonna love what they've created. These two women are powerful, and they are creating such a powerful world for us all to watch. It's such an incredible project to see. The fans are gonna be so hyped and excited.
Man, the Saskas are godsend. I mean that truly, because we have built this friendship over these last years.
Come on.
I was like, you know what?
They've got to be.
Idea. I want to see if they,
if not metaphorically, then actually. Because that's what everybody's doing in this trailer. Is just, oh, Eric July, you're so great.
Should buckle up.
Oh, the story.
I think this is going to be an exciting journey for everybody involved, all the creative people.
Hold on, that's a pretty deep hug.
For everybody involved, all the creative people. For the
that's not a. I don't know.
Saska sisters,
pretty friendly
Twisted Twins. There's so many cool plans from what I've heard of things to look forward to.
Well, there's a new superhero in town, and it's not just me.
I will say that the making of is very competently done and shot.
So
too bad the thing that they're talking about is just almost Neil Breen level of terrible. I'm not going to say Neil Breen terrible. It's not Neil Breen terrible. If you don't know what Neil Breen is, it was Twisted Pair. I'll give you an example of what you can expect with Neil Breen.
I miss what I never knew. I'm with you.
Neil Breen is a different kind of
programmable matter. Kuz's biological mutant warfare plans must be. Who am I? Who am I? What am I?
Where's the eggs? Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you expect from Neil Breen. It's not this bad. It's bad. It's not this bad.
In AI,
it's more this bad. It's more this bad.
On here uses their real name, so who aren't you?
I'm not Lorna.
Well, I'm not Alex.
Nor ketchup. I am a cannabist.
You eat human.
What is the deal with Las Vegas filmmakers?
Flesh.
My dear sir, no. I am a cannabist, not a cannibal. I cultivate the finest hybrids in cannabis sativa. Have a pack of rainbow joinettes with my compliments.
Thanks.
The first definition of libertarian is anybody who calls himself one. Definition number 2, anybody who agrees with me. Now you'll notice that each of these serve totally different functions.
I think I missed Austin Peterson. Watch this. Look, this guy looks at the camera. I don't know if it's this bad either, but it's equally as cringe for sure. By the way, the only reason this scene is in the movie is because this guy and this ad, this is the guy who funded the film. It's just a giant ad for Liberty Coin Service. So that's why they didn't be like, cut, you looked at the camera. Reset. They're like, whatever. He fucking bought the movie. Let him look at the camera.
Liberty Coin. My friend's dad was a big fan of you guys.
Who was your friend's dad?
Dr. Martin Vreeland.
The man who saved Europe?
Tell your friend I'm sorry.
Thanks.
So I have to explain this, okay? So Neil J. Shulman, J. Neil Shulman is very Christian, but he has a very kind of weird version of Christianity that allows him to meet with ladies of the night. Let's put it like that. It's very bizarre, and his view on sex is very bizarre, and it's going to be mostly explained here. I think what's really going on is that he lived in Pahrump, Nevada, which, if you don't know what Pahrump is the next county over from Clark County, which resides Las Vegas and Summerlin and Enterprise and Paradise, which is where the Strip and everything is, and the Las Vegas Valley. If you are in a county with more than, like, I think it's 100,000 people, then you're not allowed to have brothels operating, legal brothels. Nevada is the only state in the union that has legalized brothels. And he lived in Pahrump, which is where a lot of the really big, well-known brothels are, like Sherry's Ranch, Chicken Ranch. There is, I don't think where this guy is. I forget his name, but he ran like the Bunny Ranch. I think the Bunny Ranch is far more north. It's over by like Reno, the kind of Reno area. But he also had a brothel there. I forget the name, but he used to frequent those places. And I think he was just kind of he was just trying to post hoc rationalize his devout Christianity and his perversion, I guess.
Sex is pro-life and part of God's plan. The social conservative, anti-porn, anti-prostitution position is right out of the Anti-Sex League in George Orwell's novel, 1984. It's a Soviet mindset designed to put the individual's most personal choices under government control. The male urge is designed to be excessive, precisely to ensure survival of the human species.
Both prostitution and pornography serve God's first commandment: be fruitful and multiply. Someday hiding places call girl ring.
That is not. It's not what the Bible meant. Didn't mean to go and sleep with hookers and not procreate. It's very much supposed to be procreate. It also talks about in the Bible how you're supposed to be monogamous.
Will be seen by the feminists as the implementation of a woman's right to own her own body.
If the Supreme Court was serious about Roe v. Wade being a Ninth Amendment ruling, it would always include a woman's right to engage in sex for profit.
Right on.
Also, so the first time I watched this movie, there's this thing where they do this, and there's a ring on their finger, like a gold ring, and they're always doing this, and it's supposed to be like a symbol, like a kind of like the government's too tyrannical, but we're trying to let you know that, we're part of the resistance. But you can't really tell what they're doing because the gold ring that they're wearing is completely like, it's the same all the way around. So when they're doing this, you can't see that they're spinning the ring, which is what they're supposed to be doing, until like the very last time they do it in the movie, where it's like up close and then they're spinning it and you're like, oh, they're spinning the ring. And everybody does it differently. Some people do it like this, some people like do it like this, and everybody does it completely different in the movie. So you're like, why is there a gang sign that's not universally like done right? Like if everyone's going to do it, like everyone's going to do like the Vulcan thing, everybody's going to do this, right? Unless they can't do it. Or they're going to be like West Side. If you show like any rap video where they're doing the West Side, they're all doing it the same way. They're all doing it like this. No one's doing it like this. No one's doing it like like this, but everybody in this movie does it completely different from the last guy. And you're like wondering, like, what is that thing that they're doing? And it's never explained. And it's still not explained. You understand at the very end of the movie when you actually see it up close and you're like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay. And I can understand that, like, you don't want to explain it. You just want to, like, show, don't tell. But everything in this movie is tell and show. Everything in this movie is explained in over. You'll see. This particular part right here is telling, like, a good example of this. Like, we're going to a bank and he's going to cash out some of his gold for money. This scene could take 5 seconds. Oh, can I get some currency? Like, oh, what currency you want? This. Okay, here you go. But everything has to be explained, over-explained.
Today's exchange rates for your gold liberty. Would you prefer Emiratis, Yuan, or Euros?
All three?
And then we have to sit there and watch him count all of them. In the close-up, they even zoom in halfway through it.
600 Euros. $500 Yuan.
Thank you very much.
Sir, your application for a bank and Arco card.
Thanks. So let me get this straight. I could go and buy everything off your shelves, head on over to the schoolyard and
for
sell
some
it to
reason. I don't know why they had the backdrop and everything, and they were there. They could have just filmed this.
11-year-olds, and you don't have a problem with that.
Yes, I have a problem with that. So, if you buy our drugs, please don't do that.
Like, that's two different green screen. That's two different layers of green screen.
Buy our drugs, please.
This. So this is the background. This is the background's green screen. He's green screened in. They green screened her on top of him. So this is like, I get the rule of thirds, right? She's on the third. He's on the third too, but they're on the same third. He should be over here. He should be over here in this area, right here, where the morphine is. Not layered on top of each other.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's two different things. She's looking over this area. He's over here, though.
You don't want to
but
sell
this,
me.
So this is also two layers of green screen. I'm getting way too in depth, but this is like funny. Like, there was some conscious efforts made to be like this. This is all one scene, right? The background is green screened. They could have just shot it in front of it. I don't know. It's not green screen. It's just shot terribly, so it looks green screen because this light is shining on that. She actually is resting. So no, this is not green screened, but this is 3 layers of green screen.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I guess. I don't know. No, it has to be
drugs are more
green
dangerous
screen.
than plumbing acid, or scissors, or cars, or thousands of other deadly things.
I don't
You
know.
might choke
It's
me
so
with a rolled-up
confusing because it looks so
newspaper
weird.
The Second Amendment is
Again, like, so this is a part where they're at a gun range, right? Again, it's all very like, I'm explaining this to you.
Well, class,
but while they're doing this, they're going to have a whole bit
about wraps
about
up our
Second
First
Amendment. They're going to
and I'm
explain
going
it
to
in
leave the
detail.
second.
infringed.
Now, this right is an incredible amendment to have because our right to bear arms is all that stands between us and complete social chaos.
So they had a whole dialogue about the Second Amendment. Just very in your face. Have you read the book yet? No. This is just. I know, like, I did a whole review about the Jones plantation and my issues with that, and I did say that they kind of like were everything was just so like obvious, and then like just really just driving it in. And I think a lot of filmmakers kind of underestimate the intelligence of their audience, and I think that was like an example of that. But it's this that is so subtle in comparison to this. It was so subtle in comparison to this. Don't underestimate, like if you're making films, don't underestimate how stupid your audience is. Just don't do it. Your audience is probably going to be smart, and there's people that are not smart enough to understand it. Fine. They're going to have someone sitting next to them where they can be, they can ask. They're going to be that annoying person in the audience, like, why do they do that? It's fine. Or they can miss something. But this is just like, okay, we get it. You explained what the Second Amendment is. You read it verbatim. You explained why it's bad. And then all this presentation is in this giant thing to explain that how if teachers had guns, they could shoot the bad guys. You didn't even need to have that part in there. You could have just, or this obvious explanation about what just happened.
Another round?
You didn't even need this scene at all. This could have been like a dialogue. It was someone in the background like, oh, guns. And I'm pretty sure they may have done it in the movie as well. I'm pretty sure they have, because there's lots of times you'll see like two characters talking about libertarian things. They'll wrap up the conversation about like a full explanation about something libertarian.
Now, there's a guy down the promenade who sells you.
The guy that talks. Yeah, this is. Okay, I'm gonna step up Yaira. I take it all back. I'm gonna step up Yaira trailer to be a little bit better than this. Still cringe. Still fucking cringe. Oh, jeez. This is Porkfest era libertarian. Well, Porkfest still goes on. Maybe early Porkfest stuff. She's the Daily Wire. The Lady Baller. I have not seen Lady Ballers. I did see What Makes a Woman, or What is a Woman? And I thought that was bad. I agree with the message, some of it. Especially the part where they were talking about the transitioning stuff and the people having to come back from it. The issue that I had with it is like it almost seemed like he just was most of the movie was him just going around trolling SJWs and transgenders, like, what is a woman? And they can't answer the question. That's okay. That joke runs thin very quickly. When I thought the meat of the movie, the big meat of the movie is only like maybe a 15-minute section of the film where they talk to like detransitioners, and the damage that they did to their body and how they're doing it to children. Like that was the most important part of that movie. And it was almost just kind of like a quick, oh, this is bad. And then right back to it, like, well, what is a woman? And just trolling people. And it's like, part runs thin. There was no, the movie lacked the ethos. Like a documentary about something like that needs to have a lot of ethos. I didn't have it. Except for that very brief 5-minute period. Is that Jeremy Boring? I don't remember what Jeremy Boring is.
In a world where
this is Lady Ballers
is being transformed.
Ho, ho, ho.
The Daily Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
Oh, triggering. Triggered. Yeah, I remember the trigger jokes. I remember the trigger jokes from the H3H3 days. I remember those. This is definitely targeted to boomers.
Guys, this is serious. Sports can be your pathway to a better life.
Well, like yours?
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again. Winning matters. It's the key ingredient in becoming a winner.
Maybe you should try it sometime. Are you gonna move?
I am not.
Let's cut to the chase.
I know you're not a woman.
Hey, you don't know how he identifies.
If you can beat them,
What do you know about the U.S. Opens for the Global Games?
You want us to compete as women. $5,000 prizes.
My lover says you were a great coach back in the day.
join
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it. So a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes.
Coach?
Alex, we could play basketball.
We have to get the whole team back together.
it's time
We're in.
I'm in. I'm in.
to play
Lady Balders. Man up.
like a girl.
That's right. I'm with her. I'm in my truth. This is my truth.
This is like I don't know if you ever seen that Twitter account that 2012 or the Obama era conservative memes Twitter account. It almost seems like just like a film version of all those jokes. You just need the liberals crying baby face, and then we're there. We're there.
From heroes
Day one of being a girl athlete. I love being a girl.
to sheroes.
We could dominate every woman's sport.
I wouldn't say this worked, but there's another movie that's basically this, and it was done by Hollywood a long time ago. I think Juwanna Man. Oh, this is the whole movie. I don't want to see the whole movie. I just want to see the trailer. There we go.
Mr. Jeffries, can I please have your autograph? A stamp?
I love this game, baby!
Jamal Jeffries was living a dream
I got to rethink cloning.
until it turned into a nightmare.
What's up, G? I just saw you on the television, man.
Okay, so this was also about the time this movie came out. It was like the 90s where like the cloned sheep just came out and everybody was talking about cloning. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like an El Nino joke in here too.
With the flyers. Do you take it off like this? I was like, oh.
Jamal Jeffries is suspended indefinitely.
Jamal, I'm leaving.
What about all the good loving you was getting up in here?
I packed it.
Nobody wants you, not even the Clippers.
And if he wants to play ball again, he's got only one option: to play as a woman.
I'm here.
Juwanna Man.
Juwanna Man? Juwanna Man.
Juwanna Man.
Yes, Juwanna, man. Whatever. No one's gonna believe you're a woman. You did. You kind of created me. You're my agent. You're Frankenstein. Somebody kill me!
Man, hot dogs and hamburgers, man. She's all that in a Hot Wheel track.
Did anyone? Let me know. Did anyone actually see Lady Ballers? Did anyone actually see this movie? Tell me if there's that run, because it's in every movie. It's even in the Paddington movie, but at least the Paddington one did it a little bit more clever. Or like anytime there's a cross dresser in a movie, or anyone who's pretending to be a woman in a movie, whatever you want to do it, there's always like that guy who's like, man, that is the most beautiful woman I ever saw. I guarantee you that's going to be in Lady Ballers. I haven't seen it. I need to
I am Puff Smoky Smoke. You know what? You are one tall glass of water, and I'm telling you straight up, I'm thirsty.
Now he's discovering
Oh my God, Lord, what are you doing?
Taking a shower, aren't you?
he's in a whole new league.
Look at you.
Got it at Victoria's Secret.
Well, the secret's out. Michelle and I getting tight.
You a man posing as a woman. She don't want you. She wants a girlfriend. What?
You look so beautiful tonight.
Have we decided on dinner?
Get me.
Stymie that. Country got you crazy. 4, 10, 3, 5, 7.
Miguel A. Nunez Jr.
Well, I got it going on. What can I say? Born with it.
Vivica A.
These both look bad, but this actually is looks a little bit more competent. It's not just a bunch of like Obama era conservative jokes.
You know,
Alex.
Triggered.
Swimming, soccer. I said sport, Felix.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Soccer's not a sport because we're American.
It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches. Excuse me. Are these seats open? Never mind.
Getting dunks. And tucking trunks.
No, she didn't. That's the biggest I've ever seen.
So that's that girl that looks just like Ben Shapiro. I forget her name. She's a Daily Wire. That's Michael Knowles, which I have his book. The only good book he ever wrote, which is called Reasons to Vote Democrat, and it's just a blank book.
That's the biggest.
And it's Andrew Klavan.
I've ever seen on a lady.
I don't care.
Ben Shapiro.
Lady Ballers.
One can even be trans age now, which provides Sheelix with a wonderful opportunity to relive all the experiences that she missed out on in school.
By the way, I did see God, what was his name? Matt Walsh. It was in this part-ish. It was like Me and My Wife Love You or whatever. No, here it is. This Matt Walsh.
$5,000 prizes.
My lover says you were great.
Yeah, that's Matt Walsh. So everybody gets a cameo. I heard that the Candace Owens cameo is like really short, so they can clip it out of the movie because they had I think at the time they were still kind of at war with her internally.
And tucking trunks.
That's the biggest I've ever seen on a lady.
I don't care.
Lady Ballers.
One can even be trans age now, which provides Sheelix with a wonderful opportunity to relive all the experiences that she missed out on in school.
Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus December 1st.
This is... so bad. I mean, like the premise of this movie, it could work. I mean, they could work. They just had competent writers. And the problem is, I think conservatives completely kind of lost how to like make good content. And back in the day, they did know how to make good content. Like look at, I mean, I guess even still, but I think, God, his name is escaping me. Clint Eastwood can still make competent movies. I saw, Richard Jewell. That was a fucking great movie. If you have not seen Richard Jewell, go watch it. It is fucking great. They have the ability to do it. Kelsey Grammer was like a conservative, like his whole acting career. And there was a lot of that stuff that was in Frasier. But yeah, it just, I don't know what happened. They all got kicked out of Hollywood and then they fucking forgot how to make good things. And I remember like Kelsey Grammer did a movie a while ago that was just awful. And they were blaming, oh, it was Hollywood that was after us. But no, it was bad. It's bad. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea how bad, why everything has to be so bad.
When interviewed about his work on Joker, director Todd streaming services,
did he like this?
Deals are rolling. Actors are serviceable enough for the most part, I guess. Nobody's going to be winning any Oscars for this one, but it's pretty much the level of performance you'd expect from a sports comedy like this. Ultimately, though, the fate of this film is going to be sealed by one question. Is Lady Ballers actually funny? Does it make you laugh on its own merits? Or is it just coasting on the fact that it's a giant fuck you to everyone on the opposite side of the political divide? I mean, if you're a Daily Wire subscriber, then I guess it's pretty much tailor-made for you. But what about the average Joe? The guy with no real political leaning?
That's the important thing. That's the important thing. I remember I got in an argument with J. Neil Schulman, which we were becoming like friendly after a while. But he was saying like, no, my movie is not for people who, whatever. It's for people who are a fan of the book and fans of Alex Jones and Ron Paul. then you'll get it. It's like, no, if you're going to make a film and you want the film to be successful, you have to make it marketable to like the average Joe. You just do. It has to be consumable by everybody, and not just people who are already like devout believers of whatever it is you're promoting. And this movie just reeks of like Obama era conservative memes. That's what it is. I think that's right. I don't know if he agrees with it, but he's absolutely right on that part. It needs to be accessible to everybody. This has an opportunity to be a funny premise. It's a funny premise. A bunch of people who are bad at sports figure out that they could do well in sports if they play on the women's league, and they're going to exploit the new woke gender ideologies that are around right now to basically abuse women and steal all their thunder. That's a good premise for a film, and it could also send a good message for the whole like men and women's sports. But they just want to be they're just not funny. They're just not. The Daily Wire, for whatever you may think about them, that's not humor. They're not humorists.
Who's tired of the endless culture war and just wants a funny, irreverent comedy that'll make him laugh. Well, I'd be lying if I said the movie didn't get a few chuckles out of me at least, but it was mostly at the goofy physical comedy, the offhand visual gags and the quippy one-liners, rather than the heavy-handed social commentary. I mean, mocking the most extreme excesses of modern PC culture should be an easy slam dunk, but Lady Ballers makes it seem harder than it needs to by labouring its points a bit too much, trying to drive home its jokes with explanations that aren't needed, and lingering a little too long on things the audience should have picked up already. There's also a bunch of random stuff just kind of thrown in there.
That's just confirming what I thought for just based on the trailer. Jeez. Did I cover everything that I wanted to cover on the stream? Has anyone else got anything else? Because I'm going to wrap this up if not. Just want to make sure that I cover everything. So I covered, rest in peace, Greg Lee. Dan Aykroyd's a lunatic. A questionable lack of skulls. We talked about that. Yair trailer, cringe, fewer suggestions. Yeah, we covered everything. Yeah, I don't know. Is there any other movies that that Daily Wire is coming out with? So just Lady Ballers, Shut In. Do you like heroin? Not particularly. When did that What Is a Woman trailer come out? I don't think these are their movies. Oh no, this is.
Mama, why you in there?
I messed up real bad. I'm a bad mom.
It's I-J-K,
It's L-M-N-O-P.
Nana said Donnie's bad.
Daddy's not bad, okay? He's just sick. Just like Mama was sick. But I got better. Jessica.
So far, it looks very competently made, at least judging by the trailer. I don't know what it's about yet, other than it looks like an abusive husband.
I can smell the weakness from here. They teach you hope in rehab. I'll come back when you're back to your old self.
Rob!
Rob owes me money.
Don't you touch my kid! Mommy, please come out. I'm scared.
I can't get out.
You can't get out. You just need to try harder.
Go back to the same miserable
Megyn Kelly. World-renowned film critic Megyn Kelly.
Drugs to get away from.
good is this to me now?
Oh, okay. It's a movie about faith.
I'm a bad mom. But I'm trying.
Let's practice my ABCs, okay? A, B, C, D.
That looks kind of interesting, and it doesn't seem like the message is kind of overly heavy-handed, at least judging by the trailers. Oh God, what is this?
My name is Vista Mandelbaum.
How come I haven't heard about any of these other ones? These so far, the first 10 seconds doesn't seem terrible.
My brother and I have taken 4 hostages.
Everybody against the wall.
We've come for one thing. Our Titan badges.
Is this real?
Yes, ma'am, this is real.
Can I sign this? Well, I want that too.
It's the police. They want to talk to whoever's in charge.
This actually looks like an actual trailer for an actual movie.
This Titan badge can grant an individual superhuman power. Perhaps it's time for someone else to take on the responsibility.
Oh shit, that guy's in it. I forget his name. Dread Pirate Roberts. Forget his name now.
Meet Apollo.
So how come like all these like ones seem competent, but the ones that they push so hard are just so fucking out there? Like, what is a woman? Which I guess, I mean, that's your toe in the water for a lot of the stuff that's going on with the whole trans stuff. And then Lady Ballers. That's the one they're really pushing. That one's got 15 million. I guess this one does, but I haven't seen any of this. I haven't heard about Run, Fight, Hide. Run, Hide, Fight.
Okay, we are in charge now, so please pull out whichever app you use to do live streaming video. Get them up and running and point it at me. Now!
Get down on the ground! Any more friends back there?
Okay. Again, this is looks a little bit more competent. I don't know. Like, why are they pushing Lady Baller so hard? How come I hear about? Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's everybody else laughing at it. That's the reason why I hear it. And I just don't pay attention to the Daily Wire unless everybody's making fun of them or something, or they do something stupid.
Coming up on Convicting a Murderer.
Part of me don't want to believe that he did this.
The blood that was on that back area was indicative of a head wound.
My brother likes to push a lot of people around.
I don't give a fuck about anything. I ain't gotta listen to nobody.
How were these filmmakers able to convince so many people that a man like Stephen Avery is innocent?
How many times did he stab her?
Oh yeah, I remember this. This was probably a while ago, 6 months ago. Yeah, I think this was the Netflix documentary where this guy like killed someone. They try to make him seem like he was it's this guy. But this guy was like actually a sick lunatic, and they actually lied about it. There's another one. What's the one that they were making a documentary about, or they made a documentary about? Real life, the guy shot this person's dad in front of the kids and like his sister in broad daylight in front of their house for his Bronco. Julius Jones. There we go. Julius Jones. He shot Julius Jones in cold blood, and then they made a documentary about, oh, he's totally innocent. And once the DNA evidence comes back, it's going to prove that he's innocent, and they're going to let him out of jail. DNA came back like 100% it was him. It's like 1 in 18 trillion that it wasn't him. It's like, oh boy. And everybody was just like defending him, and sentence got commuted to just life in prison, which I think is good. Like, I'm against the death penalty, but yeah, dude, it's completely a murderer. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this stream up. And before I do, I tried importing all of my assets over from my old computer, and I couldn't do it in time to edit this. So I need to verbally thank my newest supporter, Phobes, who is not on this list. So hi, Glowy. I guess I got 2 people now that are called Glowy. Anyways, thank you, Phobes, and all the other people that I'll list on this thing. I'll talk to you guys later. And I'll try to start streaming more, but I've been taking as many days as I possibly can. But I'm going to try to take Mondays and Tuesdays off more often, so that'll give us more time to stream. Worms.